Hey Rally Besties, welcome back to the Writing with Anna New podcast where we talk about all things writing. In today's episode, I'm just excited to be chatting about NaNoWRIMO and saying how good NaNoWRIMO is, especially this year. And I'm going to be talking through my process, my project that I'm working on, and just some updates on my writing. But specifically, I kind of want to just talk about how NaNoWRIMO and writers' approach to NaNoWRIMO has becomes so much better. So let's go ahead and talk about it in today's video. However, before we get into it, I definitely want to just encourage you guys to stay updated on my Instagram. It's _AnnaNew. That's my handle. Definitely go follow me on there. My content has been amazing. I have been posting a lot about my new upcoming debut novel, Ghost Side. So if you want to go ahead, check it out. Definitely be my guest. I would love to see you there. But yeah, let's go ahead and get on to this episode. So, as a little bit of a preface, I guess, if you guys don't know, I'm participating in NaNoWRIMO very casually, and I'm working on Project O, which is a historical fiction novel, which will be around 80 to 100k, and I have only written barely one chapter, and it's the 7th of November. And let's talk about that for a second and talk about the casual participating in NaNoWRIMO and why this is actually better. I have been talking to a lot of different writers, especially in my own circle, who have decided to participate in NaNoWRIMO quite last minute. I feel like just objectively, this year has been really hard for a lot of people. I think this is just the human experience. For some reason, at the end of the year, everyone's pretty tired. And especially this year, I found that a lot of people are just really finding it hard because they're just spiritually and emotionally tired. And I think it's just been a really messed up year. And there's still so much going on in the world. So that's very much understandable. But if you are participating in NaNoWRIMO, I do want to encourage to participate in it very casually. The reason why I say this and the reason why I think it's better to participate in NaNoWRIMO more casually is because it is so much more rewarding. And at least the way that I've approached NaNoWRIMO, I've literally only written 1k words of my project so far in NaNoWRIMO. Of course, the goal is 50k. And although that makes sense, although that's the whole point of NaNoWRIMO, to get up to that sort of 50k mark, I don't think it's designed to do that. I think NaNoWRIMO is designed for you to just get some words done and to commit to a project for 1 month. I think the word count comes second, or comes basically not at all, at least to me. And again, I've been talking to a lot of writers and they've been casually participating in NaNoWRIMO, and I've heard so much good things about how much rewarding it feels, how much pressure is uplifted from their shoulders, how they feel a lot more, in tune with their projects. And I think particularly, I was talking to Ash, and I think I was listening to Ashley's first podcast episode. If you don't know, Ashley Faye has a podcast. I think it's called Ashley's Writing Corner. Definitely go check it out. But her first podcast is literally so good, because I really do identify with that a lot. And I feel she talks about an experience that I feel a lot of writers go through when they do pursue a NaNoWRIMO project. And that is the fact that the pressure you get from these challenges is really dehumanizing and discouraging as a writer. Again, it's the whole thing about, I remember posting a reel quite a while ago, which was just simply this little quote I came up with that was, when you're writing your project, don't rush it. The same way a painter wouldn't rush their own painting. So I think when you think of writing a book, you just think of the words, right? And that's what NaNoWRIMO is, right? You're thinking about the word count and getting words done. But when you think about another art form, such as painting, there's layers to it. You need to put the blocks, the colors, and then you can move on to the fine line, the sort of shading and everything to make it a full painting. But I feel like writers really do forget about that base level sort of process and that sort of time that you need to take in pursuing your project in your book. It won't just come out like that at the first time, where you will get words and like hit that 1,667 words every single day. Like that won't happen. You know why? It's because writing is art. You can't rush art. And I think that's why a lot of people find it really hard, just like subconsciously coming to terms with NaNoWRIMO, and why that kind of really does discourage them instead of encourage them to write their book. So again, I keep on encouraging you to take NaNoWRIMO a little more casually. If you maybe went straight into like this month and like, yeah, I'm going to write this and I'm on track, I really encourage you to take a step back and really think if this is going to burn you out. And I think in most cases it does. And in particular, I did a writing live with you guys this morning, which was so freaking fun. If you guys want to definitely check out that live, definitely do. You can watch the replay. It was so fun. I got to talk a lot about my NaNoWRIMO project and just write with you guys. But I was talking about in that live the difficulty of writing a first chapter in particular, and how when you go to day one, NaNoWRIMO, writing that first chapter is extremely hard. And the pressure is real, even if you try your best to kind of, step back from it. So when I approached Project Orchestra, which is the book I'm writing, I found it really hard to write that first chapter, but I just did it. And I think that's another sort of thing to keep in mind when you are pursuing writing and writing more casually, is to kind of know that you can edit and know that the story will come to you as soon as you write the book. It's similar to my analogy or what I kind of talk about when I'm creating characters. You don't know your characters unless you see them in the context of your story. You can't keep up with, I think I actually watched Ria's new video. Ria is writing, she is such a fun and amazing author tuber. But she was talking about how in a character video that the character will come to you. You know what I mean? Like there will be a time where you just need to accept that you don't know everything about your character, and sometimes you never will. And she gave this sort of example about there is no point of filling in all these little like quirks, all these personalities, when they were born, what their favorite food is, if they like ice cream. Like that's cool, as she was saying in the video, but it's not the core of the character. You can only know your character if you spend enough time with that character, right, in your book. So in the same way, when you're writing a book, you need to spend enough time in those ideas. You need to spend enough time in that aesthetic. And that's why writing a book in 30 days is not, in my opinion, especially if you have the idea at the start of that 30 days and finish the book that quickly and you don't spend time with your characters, with the story, with the plot, it's not going to be a deep story. You know what I mean? You need to meditate on it, think about it for a long time. And that's why a lot of writers, when you think of painters, writers, artists, their works take years, absolutely years. And I think especially if you have a really solid book idea, this might be different if you're writing a novella or a short story, or you've been really, you just had a freak story that you know everything about somehow. But in most cases, your story is going to go through a lot of drafts and go through so many revisions, go through a lot of different times where you're just staring at your screen and thinking about your book. And another thing, again, this podcast is a bit crazy, but another thing, and I feel like I'm going through all these good points, is the fact that when you are thinking about your book, you're writing your book. And that's why I don't like NaNoWRIMO in some cases, is because of the toxicity? Is that a word? The toxicness of the word count tracker. I don't really like word count trackers. To me, I write in time blocks. It's kind of similar to like if you exercise, you can either exercise in reps or exercise in time. That's like the difference in like Pilates, for example. And I honestly think time is better, since you're going to feel weird some days. And that's why, honestly, I feel, for example, when I'm editing, not editing. I mean, sometimes when I'm editing, to be honest, when I'm working out, I might feel different some days. I might feel like I can't do it that day. I just feel like I'm not as energetic, so I'm just going to try and pursue it and pursue this exercise for 10 minutes, an hour, and see where I go. Instead, of having that sort of expectation for you to do 10 reps in 4 sets. You know what I mean? Just have that goal for that time. And that's why I like measuring time for progress a lot better than the actual word count or the reps in that weird working out analogy, if you know what I mean. So sorry, I needed to close my door since there was a bit of buzzing outside. It ruined my life, to be honest. These people on the other side of the canal where I live, they're doing constructions and it's so annoying. So sorry if you heard some buzzing noises, but let's continue. Anyways, yes. So NaNoWRIMO, I feel like the 50K goal is very objective. It's very like standard, but that shouldn't be the case because of course, every project, every sort of writer, they're in their project in a different stage. You know, they can be editing, they can be just brainstorming, they can just be including plotting words, for example. So yeah, I guess that's kind of it for this video. I don't really know what else I was talking about, but just kind of, yeah, encouraging you guys to know that word count isn't everything, and new ways of pursuing writing sessions, for example, maybe going through and timing your writing sessions instead of doing word count, and also realizing that you need to spend time in your story to develop it in a way. And I think having time to take a break for your book, for example, Project O, words were just flowing out of me because I knew the story so well, because I told myself the story so well. Can you hear that? I'm so sorry if you can hear that in the background. I'm going to end it here because, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to be professional. Anyways, I can't help it. I'm sorry about that. But anyways, I love you guys so much. I really hope your NaNoWriMo project is going well. I hopefully will have a NaNoWriMo update around the middle of November, so stay tuned for that. And if you haven't seen my Preptober or November vlogs, I'll link it in the description. Or if you want to see like a full November like a vlog, I have a whole series from last year's NaNoWriMo, which I was actually writing Project Ghost. So if you want some more details about Ghost Side, definitely check out those vlogs. And of course, definitely check out that live that I did earlier this morning if you need someone to write with. But yeah, I love you guys so much. I hope this was just a fun little talkative spiel about NaNoWriMo, about my writing and how I'm approaching writing now. I feel like I've grown so much as a writer. So yeah, I hope you took something from this. If not, thanks for just listening to me ramble, because it just means the world. But I love you guys, and I hope to see you in my next writing episode.